The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen R. Covey. Imagine you're standing before a mirror on an ordinary morning, preparing for another day that feels remarkably similar to yesterday. You brush your teeth with the same hand, follow the same route to work, respond to challenges with familiar patterns of thought. Yet somewhere beneath this comfortable routine, a question stirs. What if the very habits that feel automatic are quietly shaping not just your day, but the entire trajectory of your life? What if effectiveness isn't about working harder, but about examining the invisible architecture of how you move through the world? Stephen Covey's 7 Habits offer a blueprint for this examination, but they represent something far more profound than productivity tips or success strategies. They form a philosophy of human agency, a gentle yet radical proposition that you possess the power to consciously design your responses to life's circumstances. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, these habits whisper an ancient truth. While you cannot control what happens to you, you can cultivate mastery over what happens within you. This mastery, Covey suggests, becomes the foundation upon which all meaningful effectiveness rests. At the heart of this philosophy lies the first habit, being proactive. You discover here a profound distinction between reacting to life and responding to it. Picture yourself caught in an unexpected rainstorm without an umbrella. The reactive mind focuses on the injustice of getting wet, the inconvenience, the ruined plans. The proactive mind asks a different question entirely. Given this reality, what is my best response? This shift from victim to agent represents perhaps the most fundamental transformation possible in human consciousness. The proactive approach introduces you to 2 invisible circles that surround every aspect of your existence. Your circle of concern encompasses all the things that worry or interest you: the weather, other people's opinions, global events, past mistakes. Your circle of influence contains only those elements you can actually affect through your choices and actions. When you focus your energy on what you can control, something remarkable happens. Your circle of influence begins to expand. When you pour your attention into concerns beyond your control, it contracts. This becomes a daily practice of choosing where to invest your most precious resource, your attention itself. The second habit, beginning with the end in mind, invites you to become an architect of purpose before you become a builder of days. Consider the strange power of imagining your own memorial service, not morbidly, but as a clarifying lens. What would you want said about the life you lived? This exercise reveals the gap between your current trajectory and your deepest values, creating what Covey calls a personal mission statement. Like a lighthouse guiding ships through fog, this statement becomes your reference point for navigation when the immediate pressures of daily life threaten to pull you off course. This habit challenges a peculiar modern assumption that busyness equals progress, that filling time with activity creates meaning. Instead, you learn to distinguish between efficiency and effectiveness, between doing things right and doing the right things. Beginning with the end in mind means every action becomes a brushstroke in a larger painting whose composition you've consciously chosen. Without this vision, you risk becoming masterfully efficient at climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. The third habit, putting first things first, transforms these insights into the practical art of living. Here you encounter the profound simplicity of the time management matrix. 4 quadrants that categorize every activity by its urgency and importance. Most people live trapped in quadrant I, constantly reacting to urgent crises, or escape to quadrant IV, seeking relief in activities that are neither urgent nor important. But effectiveness flourishes in quadrant II, activities that are important but not urgent. These quadrant II activities whisper rather than shout. They include relationship building, long-term planning, personal development, prevention, and preparation. When you consistently choose these over the tyranny of the urgent, something shifts in the very fabric of your life. Crises become less frequent because you've prepared for them. Relationships deepen because you've invested in them during calm moments. Your capabilities expand because you've dedicated time to growth when there was no external pressure to do so. Perhaps the most profound habits concern how you relate to others. The fourth habit, thinking win-win, challenges the scarcity mindset that assumes someone must lose for you to win. This isn't naive optimism, but a mature recognition that the most sustainable solutions often emerge when all parties feel valued and benefit. In a world increasingly divided into camps of winners and losers, this habit offers a radical alternative: the patient work of finding the third option that honors everyone's core needs. The fifth habit, seek first to understand, then to be understood, might be the closest thing to magic in human relationships. You practice empathic listening, temporarily setting aside your own need to be heard in service of truly understanding another person's perspective. This requires enormous emotional security because it means risking having your mind changed. Yet in this vulnerability lies unexpected power. People who feel genuinely understood become remarkably willing to understand you in return. These habits illuminate a striking paradox of modern life. We live in an era of unprecedented connectivity, yet many people feel profoundly isolated. We have access to infinite information, yet struggle with decision-making. We've automated countless tasks, yet feel overwhelmed by the pace of daily existence. Covey's principles suggest that our external technological progress hasn't been matched by internal development. The patient cultivation of character that allows us to navigate complexity with grace. Consider how the seventh habit, sharpening the saw, speaks directly to our current moment. In a culture that celebrates the hustle, that mistakes exhaustion for dedication, this habit whispers a countercultural truth: renewal isn't selfish, it's essential. Just as a woodcutter who stops to sharpen his saw will ultimately cut more wood than one who saws frantically with a dull blade, the person who tends to their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being operates from a foundation of sustainable strength. This creates space for the sixth habit, synergy, to flourish. When you're operating from a renewed foundation, when you've practiced proactive thinking and empathic listening, you become capable of true collaboration. Synergy isn't compromise, where each party gives up something to reach an accommodation. It's creative cooperation, where the solution that emerges is genuinely better than anything any individual could have conceived alone. It's the closest thing humans experience to magic, the whole becoming greater than the sum of its parts. The key insight weaving through all seven habits is this: effectiveness isn't about techniques or systems, but about character. In a world obsessed with shortcuts and life hacks, these habits demand something more challenging and more rewarding: the slow, steady work of becoming the kind of person who naturally acts in ways aligned with their deepest values. They suggest that who you are speaks louder than what you do, and that sustainable change works from the inside out. A lingering question emerges as you consider these principles. In an age where external circumstances change rapidly and unpredictably, how do you balance the discipline these habits require with the flexibility that modern life demands? How do you remain anchored in character-based principles while staying responsive to a world in constant flux? Perhaps the answer lies not in perfect implementation, but in gentle, persistent practice. These habits become less like rigid rules and more like a compass, not telling you exactly where to step, but ensuring you're always moving in a direction aligned with your truest self. As you settle into rest, you might notice that effectiveness isn't really about achieving more, but about becoming more fully who you're meant to be, one conscious choice at a time. In this light, even sleep becomes an act of effectiveness, a deliberate choice to renew yourself for tomorrow's opportunities to practice wisdom, courage, and love.